All right, we're live. Welcome back, MilSpouse Creatives, for another crushing MilSpouse influencer interview with none other. You've heard him on all the radio waves. He's like talking everywhere. Dave Etter from Spouse World 101, Military Spouse of the Year 2016. He's an Army spouse. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What you saying?
Yeah, not the military spouse. That was Natasha.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Jeez.
No.
Together with all these names.
It's cool. It's cool because it's the program is Military Spouse of the Year that Armed Forces Insurance and Victory Media put together, and it's incredible. So we're all. I think you're one of them too, aren't you? Aren't you?
I'm a nominee. I was a nominee.
Hey, see, somebody thought you were amazing, like we do.
Yes, they did. So I'm really glad you're here. I appreciate your time. You guys, our influencer interviews are meant to inspire, motivate, cultivate the community, and connect you, and give you inspiration to go out if doing podcasting or whatever Dave is sharing with us today. That's the goal of these interviews. So make sure to send him any messages, pop on, ask questions. He will be able to respond.
Yep.
So I'm really excited. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. So welcome to MilSpouse Influencer Interview.
I am so excited for being here. I think what you're doing with the MilSpouse Creative is nothing short of a breath of fresh air, something heavily needed. And I'm glad to see people are finding out about you and jumping in and taking advantage of what you've got going.
Thank you. You know what? The military spouse community, spouses are my heart. I feel like that's my purpose. Like we all have a purpose in life. I have a passion, which is public relations, but my purpose, I feel like, is military spouses and how I'm supposed to help in some way.
Yes.
So thank you. I'm glad, and thank you for being part of the community. So Dave, tell me a little bit about yourself, how long you guys have been active duty, what you were doing before you met your spouse. Like, tell us your little bit of your background.
I am so weird in that area. I'm a veteran. I was in the United States Navy back from 83 to 92. And then I got out and went back home and, got actively involved with the American Legion and volunteering through that.
I love those places.
And then I met my current wife. She is my third wife, but I met my current wife at the American Legion 18 years ago.
Wow.
Yes. And I have not been away from her side for those 18 years, except for when, she's active duty now, and she had to go to boot camp. And she went to some trainings, and if she ever gets deployed, which is highly unlikely due to what she does in the military, but those are times in which she goes away. We try not to have any separation.
Yeah.
So, but we've been together for 18 years. She's only been active duty for 6.
Really? So you guys are married 1999 then? Is that?
We married in the year 2000.
Okay.
It took a while to get her to say yes. But we were together for almost 2 years. And I was, American Legion from 98 to 99. I was the commander of that post.
Oh, wow.
We met. And then I did it again, and then I went on, moved my way up some in American Legion. But she's supported me, and I've supported her, and she had her own job, and I had my own job. I'm an entrepreneur. I had a taxi service before we got into the military. And it's something I built from the ground up. Somebody just, I found a limousine and I bought it. Mm-hmm. And I ran the limousine for a while. And one of the bar owners said, Dave, you need to run a taxi. Our hometown did not have one.
Oh, wow.
This is pre-Uber. This is pre-Lyft. This is when, the taxi system you had to have those medallions and things like that in the big cities. But out in the boonies, oh man, you want a taxi, you call them in from, Phoenix or Tucson, That's like $300 to get them to the town, and then they drive you where you need to go, and then you got to pay their $300 to go back. It's like $1,000 to go shopping. No, I'm going to get a taxi going. So I did.
Right. Good for you. Wow.
It really, really, really went well, and that's where I discovered the one thing that I just love telling people about is that you need to take what's a passion to you. I love to drive. I'm a broadcaster. I'm an entertainer. I like to be behind a microphone. And, I worked at a radio station before I did the taxi business in my hometown. And, and that was great until I got fired.
Well, these interviews are meant to be transparent. Thank you for sharing that.
It happens,
I've been fired too. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I could just never keep. I just had my own opinions.
I'd rather be fired up, and now I am fired up.
Yes.
But, so the taxi business was doing so well, so she got into the medical field, going to college. But we're in, a little town in Arizona, and it was like, boom, now there is a class she has to take. It's only offered in the closest offering. It's only offered in large universities. And the closest one was, 2 hours away, almost 3 hours away. No, we are not. She's not driving 3 hours to go to a class and come back. And it was like, honey, we're going to have to move.
Yeah.
If we're going to continue this. And I cannot take the taxi business with me because when we go to the big city, I have to do the medallions and I have to do all of the everything else, the things I'm not encumbered with out in the boonies. Why don't you just join the military?
So you told her that.
I did.
I told my husband that too. I was like, well, one of us have to go in. It's either going to be you or me. Which one is it?
Yeah.
For you.
If you had done it right now, you would probably be commander-in-chief of the, what would you have gone in, the Marines?
Air Force. I couldn't deal with the Marines. I would be like, that's a joke. I'm not doing that.
You would be commanding them. I'm telling you, it would have been awesome.
Well, thank you. Gosh, you're filling me up so much today. Amazing. Thank you.
Anyway, she's like, well, but I'm too old. And I said, well, if you're too old, they'll tell you you're too old.
Right.
Try it. Well, too old for the Navy, too old for the Air Force.
Right.
Marines, not an option.
Nope.
Not in medical. They don't do medical. So we went to the Army, and the Army said, oh, no, you're not too old.
We'll take you.
You're 39. We'll take you. So she signed.
Wow.
And as soon as she signed, there came a directive down that said, effective Monday, the maximum age is 36. And she's like,
wow.
Oh.
Well, my husband barely made the cutoff at 32 for the Air Force. Well, because he got out and he went back in. And right before he went back in, 2 weeks before, he turned the 33. So it was like by the skin of our teeth that we made it back because he got out and then commissioned.
And heaven forbid anything medical comes along that delays it where you have to re-sign stuff and then they look in and they're going, oh, you're too old.
Yeah.
Oh, it was really scary. But she went to boot camp at age 40.
Wow, that's she must be a kick-butt woman. I gotta meet her because the stories I hear about boot camp, I would literally like cry. I'd be like, I quit. I just need my mom.
Yeah, but she's gotten the education. She is now a respiratory therapist. That was what we got into the military for, and we're here at Landstuhl, Germany.
Germany.
Yeah. I mean, this is about as close to the action as you can get without being in the action.
I know. I lived in Germany when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it. I want to go back so bad just to travel as an adult. I did a lot of traveling as a child, but wow. So you guys are just pretty fairly new to this military lifestyle.
I'm new to the military spouse side.
Right.
I'm very new to the military spouse side as far as it goes, because when I was in the military did not believe in families.
Oh, wow.
It was true where they said, if you were supposed to have a family, we would have issued you one in your duffel bag.
Oh, I've never heard that, but you learn something new every day. Wow.
My first wife Oh, I was underway on the submarine. I'm a submariner. Underway on the submarine. We were having problems getting ready to get a divorce and all. And she, when we pulled back into port, she called me up and said, okay, I'm going to give you the divorce. You need to come by and pick up the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay. I have duty because we just pulled in and I am a junior enlisted. So I'm going to have to stay on board for tonight, but I'll be by tomorrow after the work day to pick up the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Overnight, during that period of time, and my first wife was considerably older than I was. So she was going through menopause and the medicines and everything that were.
Oh yeah, those things make you crazy.
Well, she overdosed.
Oh,
and
okay.
I found her dead on the couch, and
that makes me so sad.
It was a very shocking. They gave me a week to take care of all arrangements.
Oh wow.
I'm serious. When they said the military did not take care of families, they did not. So
wow.
Now that we're in the Army,
mm-hmm.
my third wife, my second wife, she just divorced me. Kind of like being fired. So I picked up a third wife, and she's all fired up, and she's in the military.
That's awesome. So let me ask you something. So you've been an entrepreneur basically from the beginning of your relationship.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, when I met my current wife, when I met Stephanie, or Sarge as we like to call her, or she hates to be called, when I met her, I was working... Actually, no, I was working on my own. I had my own computer store.
Okay, so you've just always been in, wow.
Mm-hmm. And computer repair is what I did. And I was doing radio on the side. And then while we were dating, the opportunity came to work at the radio station full time. Mm-hmm. And that developed into becoming the program director. Which is pretty much one of the top positions on the radio station,
right.
Up until the time that the radio station sold to another company. And I wasn't part of, I'm part of the old crew,
right.
And we're bringing in the new crew. So
right.
I got fired. It's the natural way of things.
It's just the way life goes. I mean, people in the military get fired from their jobs all the time. They don't realize that they're not getting kicked out. They just get moved somewhere else.
Yeah.
So tell me about so now Spouse World. This is a whole new venture. How do you manage Spouse World and everyday life as a spouse, like as a military spouse? I mean, are there certain guidelines you guys follow? Is there a structure? Like, how do you do household chores? Like, now that you work for yourself, how does all that work with your active duty member?
Well, it's quite easy. And I discovered this back when neither one of us were in the military, I'm being a veteran and all. If you have your own business, you have to set serious hours aside. In other words, treat it like a regular job. You get up in the morning and you go to your office, which is downstairs. It could be the entire house. The kids, I put it into a post today somewhere. I forgot where I put it, but you tell your kids that if they need anything, they need to schedule an appointment.
I have done that. Because
you're working. You are doing a job. You're trying to take care of the family. So you have to separate work from regular life. And then when it's regular lifetime, no work. Don't do any work.
Well, it's funny because I was talking to Annette yesterday, Annette Maldonado, and she was telling me that when she has to work in the evening, because she was saying sometimes she has to schedule hours in the evening to work.
Right.
She has a small one. Her husband will say something like, whatever. She'll look at him and say, when you have to work overtime, I don't say anything. I'm here for you. I hold it down. I'm home when you get here. So
precisely.
Same thing. So she's like, that don't fly in my house. I was like, yes, yep. I wrote it down because I'm going to use that one.
It is so true. And you have to you have to remember that volunteering is much the same way.
Yeah.
But volunteering is going to be good for your heart. It's going to be good for your soul. And volunteering also keeps you actively in your body learns things subconsciously. And as long as you stay active in what appears to be a job, whether it be volunteering, whether it be entrepreneur, whether it be a regular 9 to 5, your body gets used to that schedule. And so you do that. Do you clean up the mess that the dog's made because he ate something he shouldn't have and decided to bring it into the house and then just, redistribute it?
I'm glad I don't have a dog just for that.
Well, yes, you do, because that classifies as an emergency. So obviously you're at home.
You don't go and do laundry in the middle of the day, or you work, you have your work hours. Unless you can fit it into the schedule so it does not interfere with what you're trying to accomplish. Like, I love it.
For instance, I can be like doing some research. We just did a thing on Spouse Spouts, which is a live show that I do with Susan Reynolds, a podcast as well. I do 3 different podcasts. But anyway, I was listening to OBD and HS, our boy Drew and Hustle Standard. They just put out a new album for veterans called RED. Remember, Everyone Deployed is what RED stands for.
I love that.
And it's a hip hop, and they dropped it the other night on iTunes, and in 30 minutes, that one became the number 15 on the chart on iTunes in 30 minutes. It's huge. The thing is huge. Well, I put that on because they gave me a pre-copy of the entire album, and I was just listening to it, gathering, questions and talking about how it affected me, etc. And I was doing laundry at the same time.
Right, but that's like research at the same time. Like I've done
Absolutely.
That too, where, like I have to listen to, like if I'm going to be on a podcast or something, I'll listen to the previous ones to kind of see how the host runs the show, and I'll listen.
Exactly.
And do something, but that's good that you have guidelines. So you work.
Yep.
Work hours.
If I'm doing any editing and the laundry needs to go into the dryer, that laundry waits.
Yeah, so after work hours.
Exactly. And so the kids are the same way. But fortunately, I only have one more kid left. He's a junior in high school right now, so he's pretty turnkey. He comes home and he sucks up my bandwidth by playing his online games. So
yeah. So how does he feel about you doing all of this entrepreneur stuff? And being the Army spouse of the year, he loves it. He's excited about it. Awesome. I mean, how many 16-year-old boys do you know say to their dad on a regular basis, "Hey, Dad, love you"? That's awesome. I love that. That speaks volumes about the type of character you've raised him to be. And he's watching you, I think, too, you being a male spouse, and then you have the female spouse.
Speaking of which, he just walked in the door. It's there he is.
He did. Hey,
that's Alex. He can't hear you because I'm only going through the
Hi, Alex.
earphone.
I'll tell him I said hi.
This is Moni. She's doing an interview, and yeah.
So how amazing! I was going to ask you, being a male spouse. A lot of times when I've talked to other male spouses that I know, or they're active duty female spouses that are active duty, I repeat it, but they say that their spouse doesn't really want to be involved because it's all women, and they feel a certain type of way about being the dependent / spouse. I mean, has that affected your relationship as a military spouse at all?
No, none at all. Not at all. Ooh, he took his ass back today. Nice. I'll review that because, again, it's during working hours.
So what do you find the hardest things to be transitioning as an entrepreneur, creative, as a military spouse?
To get back to your question about being a male spouse, and in what is a predominantly female world with the spouses, with remembering that 1% of the military or 1% of the population of the United States is military. Actually, it's less than 1%. I have to remember that because even though they have released the freeze, they are starting to bring in more military. They're starting to allow more to enlist and to become officers and all. It's still going to take a while to catch up to the speed of the growth of the population of the United States. So we're going to hover right around 1% or less of the civilian population is military. Now, out of that, less than 50% of the military is married with spouses. You can pretty much feel the numbers that are coming along here.
Yeah.
So what we have is roughly 1.2 million spouses out there. Guys only take up barely 11%. We'll call it 10% for easy math. So there's 120,000 male spouses out there. Realistically, when you look at those numbers and you play with it, if you've got a group of 300 spouses for an event, 33 of them should be guys.
Right, but then usually it's only 1 or 2 that show up.
But why? And I'll tell you why. It's real easy. To get an event like that, you have to come up with sponsors. To get the sponsors to cover the costs of putting on an event of that nature, they need to get a return on their investment.
Mm-hmm.
So are they going to market what their presence is going to be for 10% of the population, or are they going to go for the 90%? So as gal products are going to be offered, and us guys look at it and we're going, hey, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I mean, this is not fair. I need a barbecue grill in this batch here.
Yeah, right.
Or give me a couple of fly rods or something, and I'll take a trip to the brewery.
I know, right? Or like, can we have beer, IPAs particularly?
And do you know, I brought that up in Fort Campbell 4 years ago, and it made it happen. It started to happen because a lot of the women, because I have no fear, I will be one of the guys in that crowd.
Oh, I know you will. And you will work that crowd. And you will do your thing.
Yeah. And the sponsors are like, I don't know. And some of the women are wandering around going, yeah, I'm interested in beer too.
Yeah.
I could do another grill or bring in some things that are unisex, like a television. You're going to raffle off a television.
Yeah, or even, yeah, that's true.
I mean, spa day, sure, that might work. I do enjoy a mani-pedi. I do.
Or a massage. Who doesn't?
But every place I've gone to for a mani-pedi, when they get down to the pedi, they tell me never come back. I have ugly feet.
God, you're hilarious. I love it.
But yeah, we can't.
That's good information to know. I mean, we should definitely work on that.
Us guys, we can't expect the sponsors to kowtow to us. But what we can get is from the spouses groups and anybody that's trying to appeal to the spouse world to drop the things like, hey, ladies.
Yeah, I did that one day. I felt so bad.
Well, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad, because what you're having to say may deal only with the women.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right. And that's why for the Mill Spouse Creative, I didn't choose like any pretty colors. I mean, I chose turquoise because turquoise means connect. It also means inspire, and it motivates. The color is supposed to trigger, all of that. So that's the reason I chose that color. But I think it's important not to, like you said, try to concentrate and say, hey, creatives, or because I have done it, hey, ladies. And I'm
that's fine.
And two guys in this group. Like, I need to get it together.
Well, when you have said, hey, ladies, you've talked about bras and things like that. And I'm sorry, guys don't wear those. No, I'm serious. I'm joking.
I never talked about bras. I'm like, wait, what is happening? When did I talk about bras?
No, I'm joking. But no, you've talked about products that guys might buy for our wives, but our wives are being hooah.
Yeah,
And being hooah, eyeliner and makeup is not allowed.
yeah.
And so, okay, they can wear it during the weekend, but they got to make sure they scrub that off. And when it gets to be difficult, it's like, forget it. We're not going to wear it. Honey, I really appreciate you got me that favorite fragrance, but I can't wear that to work.
Right, exactly. Oh my gosh.
So when it's something like that and you say, hey, ladies, that's okay. Don't worry. You're good.
I try to be like right in the middle because I don't want anybody to feel left out, right? I want everybody to feel like they're part of the community.
Absolutely. And you're doing a fantastic job with it.
Thank you, Dave. I love that. I love it. Well, let's go on. Let's move on to the next question, which I think for me, I want to figure out for you, since you have older kids, what do you find to be the hardest transition?
Hardest transition, honestly, is the weight limitations. I'm in Germany. All of the stuff that you can buy here is usually an antique. Well, an antique by American standards, because how long has America been around? 200 years?
Right.
I'm in Germany where I can buy a piece of furniture that's probably been around for 1,000 years. Mm-hmm. This stuff's heavy.
Oh, I can imagine.
So I'm going to bring this really cool armoire, but guess what? I have to sacrifice my couch and my chairs and a couple of bookshelves and, a few other things. And it's like, I have no clue how I'm going to get most of this stuff back home.
Is any of it for your business? Because I know transitioning, like, how are you planning on transitioning the business part of it? Like, from here to there.
It's easy. It's all on the computer. My entire business is on the computer. Mm-hmm. And I can be on any computer. I have like 40 or 50 computers in the house here.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. I mean, here's one that I've been trying to see if I can resurrect.
Oh goodness.
And it's kind of sort of working, but it doesn't want to play with the internet. Maybe it's because it's German internet. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those old e-machines that Acer put out.
Oh, we had an Acer.
And it was a great little computer, but it's got, in today's standards, it's got a very inferior processor chip. It's got decent memory and it's got a decent hard drive in it, but it's I was hoping I could put my editing software and bring it with me to IMSOI next week. Not going to happen. Not on that little thing.
Oh, goodness.
I got to figure out something else. I mean, I got everything that I need for my business fits in a bag.
Well, yeah. I mean, but like keeping, because you necessarily don't hire people don't necessarily hire you to do a service. Yeah, or do you do stuff on the side?
I have made myself available too, because what I can do is I can create commercials.
Oh, really cool.
And so if you've got a radio station or a podcast that you decide you want to get into, you want to sponsor, and you need a decent commercial, you can contact me and I can create you a 30-second commercial, a 60-second commercial, a 15-second commercial, something to put into there. It's kind of like, well, what you do as a PR business is you give people the best public relations that they can have. And if that means exposure from an advertisement, then I'm the person that you come to saying, hey, I have this client that would like to have a 30-second commercial dealing with chocolate bars. Can you write up a commercial that shows off their chocolate?
I love that. You need to make sure you add that.
Well, I have it in my, in Big Day V Productions or BDE Productions.
No, I mean on the military spouse, the connection sheet, because I don't think you have that on there.
I don't, because right now I'm still getting the spouse world one-to-one.
Right. Okay.
Up and going. I mean, I've got to in order to get onto I forget which one it is. One of the podcast push them outs. You have to be there for a month, and I've only been 2 weeks, 3. This is the end of the second week.
You're almost there. You got this.
Yeah. Once I get 30 days, then I'm in place there. I'm trying to get as many interviews as I possibly can in of Shakers and Movers. I mean, you were my 4th interview, I believe, and which is really cool. You're in the launch week.
I know. I love it. I love being part of things that are growing, because I think that's where like really authentic and natural relationships begin, because when you're so big and you're trying to be a part of it, they're already a part of it. So they already have their people. And so something like growing slowly and growing with a business or an idea, to me, you have more of an emotional investment into it and more of support, because you're like, wow, this is really great. Where is it going? What are we doing? That kind of thing. So yeah, I think Spouse World 1-to-1 is really good. I'm really excited. I love that you started it. And
I think the hardest part about transitioning that comes to my mind right now is having to set all of this aside to handle the getting ready to move, because it's an Oconus to Conus move.
That's a big move.
It's gonna be time consuming. So all of my push on this business is going to have to be to get the stuff set up and ready to rock and roll, so I can take a week to 2 weeks off, and it is transparent to the podcast being dropped once per day.
Right. So you have to schedule it out, kind of have everything set in place.
Yeah.
So automated systems are something you're going to have to rely on.
And I have that now with my server that handles the podcasts themselves. I record them and then I upload them, and then I just tell them when to release them. So it's all fully automated. I mean, like I said, I've got a few that are set up to do tomorrow, and I'm working on on Monday and Tuesday. I'm working on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays to release to put in place, so that I'm done. And then I'll be okay for the entire week for MSOI, but I'll have to be struggling come Sunday to get Mondays ready to rock and roll.
Right. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a lot. So, yeah, the transitioning, it's good to have automated systems ahead of time. You have to be organized.
You have to plan them out.
Sometimes you can, rely on your spouse to help you come up with ideas to what you can do or suggestions. I know my husband's really good about that. Like, I'll have, as an entrepreneur, we're always like thinking of stuff.
Yeah.
He's very logistical. And he's like, oh, wait a minute, you have this. What about this? So like in that situation, he would seriously be so good at getting me organized for it.
So he handles your logistics while you stay with the creative. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Hey, I got to use him for something, right?
Yeah, you could always use him to hold down the chair at night when he comes home so it doesn't float away.
Yeah. So
I just draw the line at foot massages.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yes, she's asked me to do that. She's come home. She's going, I'm so tired. And I said, just go change into something nice, get out of your uniform, change into something nice, have a seat. And when she comes down, I got a beer ready for her, and I probably got a plate of dinner for her. And she sits in front of the television. We bring up Cody. We find whatever show it is we want to watch, and we sit down and we watch television together for about the hour that she's home before she has to go to bed.
Yeah. We like to watch.
But no massages.
No massages?
No massages.
Foot massages.
I'm old. I have arthritis. It hurts.
I can't deal. This is hilarious. Oh my gosh, this has been so funny. Okay. Well,
I have thumbs. They're just not opposing anymore. Actually, they are. They're very oppositional to me.
Oh my gosh, that's too funny. So tell me 3 tips for military spouses, creative entrepreneurs who want to have a business or start a business or even start a podcast like yourself, or start a taxi business, or let's concentrate on the podcast, because I think a lot of people want to start podcasts.
Right.
If you have 3 tips on becoming an entrepreneur and starting a podcast, what would they be?
First off, sit down and think hard and fast as to whether or not you're going to experience burnout in the first week or 2. There are so many podcasts out there that start out gangbusters, and then people start realizing this is a lot of work.
Right.
And it is. It's a lot of work. It's nowhere near the work I did when I was in radio, but I got paid a lot of money to be in radio.
Exactly.
But I have found that in podcasting, one of my podcasts, I make some serious bucks off of with the sponsors.
That's
and the
good.
second podcast, we've got some sponsors, and so we're getting some benefit out of that. And Spouse World 1-to-1, I'm hoping to attract some serious sponsors. And so what you need to do, what I suggest if you're going to do a podcast, is be prepared for how tedious it will become. People don't think about that. And then then the second tip is make sure that you've got the right equipment. Do the research. Do the research. It's out there. Avoid anything that says, pay me and I'll teach you initially.
Mm-hmm.
You do that after you've committed to doing the podcast, and then you find somebody that you can use as a mentor to help you with the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But don't do it ahead of time. You need to find out whether or not this is your niche. This is something you want to do. I mean, somebody who likes to cook is not going to make a good podcaster.
Right. Exactly. It has to be your thing.
Maybe get with somebody who likes to do videos and do a cooking show.
Exactly.
So the 2 of you are doing something cool.
And that you like to do and you're good at.
Exactly. It's got to be something you're good at. And podcasting is, everybody loves to listen to them. Very few have what it takes to actually make them work.
Yeah.
And then third tip would probably be find a favorite beer or wine, because you're going to do a lot of celebrating when a great show is recorded.
How about a favorite cocktail or a drink?
That works too. Or in my case, scotch.
Is Johnny Walker scotch?
No, that's blended whiskey. That's blended whiskey.
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker is...
I can't stand the smell of it.
...is the poor man's scotch that was made in America.
You calling my husband poor?
No, I'm not. I'm saying Johnny Walker is a poor man's scotch that was made in America during Prohibition.
Yeah.
And Johnny Walker Red and Johnny Walker Black was made available to World War II everywhere. There were cases and cases and cases and cases. Many GIs came back just addicted to Johnny Walker.
Oh, yeah. My husband's one of them.
And if you've got a taste for it, it's bourbon and whiskey combination. Or bourbon and rye, I believe it is. And it's pretty rough.
My husband loves it. He takes it neat. Or anyway, that's a whole nother topic. We just talked about alcohol one time.
That's great. If he likes it, I'm a Scotch man, and I'm at the low end cheap side right now with my Glenlivet 12.
Oh gosh.
So, yeah, $30 a bottle.
So we have burnout. Avoid burnout. Make sure you have the right equipment and resources.
Absolutely.
And have a favorite drink.
Have a favorite drink. Celebrate your victories.
Celebrate your victories. I love it.
Yep.
So tell me, now we're going to jump into the lightning round.
Oh.
So this is fun because you've already exposed yourself the whole time. You've been so transparent. What is a talent?
It's better to have no skeletons in your closet. Nobody can ever hold anything over you.
I know, that's right. That's why I can't hide anything anyway. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, is what they say.
And I know a lot of people are wondering about all of the musical instruments up on the wall.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
They work. I just hung them up there because it didn't make any sense having them in a box sitting around. They make great art too.
Do you play?
Trumpet, yes. Violin, no. My kids did. Mandolin, my brother does, but I found one at a thrift store. They thought it was a banjo, and it had broken strings, so I just restrung it and put it there. And then the tambourine, I forgot where I found the tambourine. It was really cool.
That's really cool.
Put it all together, hang it on the wall. Ta-da!
So that's your talent. You play the trumpet.
No. No. Yes. Yeah. You know how God gives you talents? I'm a musician, but I'm old now and I don't have my original teeth, so I can't put the mouthpiece up to my mouth and make the proper connection with the ligature, and so I can't make it vibrate correctly. So there's no more playing instruments, but at the end, I started with trumpet, but I ended up trombone.
Okay. So would that be one of your hidden talents?
No.
So what would your hidden talent be that nobody knows?
I have none. I really don't. Not that we can talk about.
Okay. Moving on to the next question.
Okay.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, superpower. I guarantee it would be X-ray vision.
Really?
Absolutely.
What would be the benefit for that?
The benefit for that is to be able to look through the walls of stores and see whether or not the product that everybody's been ranting and raving about, I can just drive through the through the parking lot, look in the store and see whether or not it's in stock, because I hate
that's a good
finding an empty shelf.
Wow.
Yeah. X-ray vision would be like, such a big help.
Yeah, that would be good. And your favorite downtime activity?
Drinking.
Yes, scotch.
Scotch and beer.
Scotch and beer.
I have an empty from last night of my current favorite beer, Keeler Weissbier.
Oh, that's all that German beer over there.
It's a Dunkel. It's a very, very tasty. I'm gonna miss it. It comes with this really cool ceramic cap.
And then do you throw that out?
No, you take it back and
they fill it.
Well, I'll let them do that. I take back a case of these. A case here is 20.
Oh wow.
In German, not 24. It's 20. 5x4. But it's heavy. And you take the case of bottles back and they don't charge you a deposit on the bottles.
That's cool. We should do that here in America. It would save a lot of.
I think they do, but you have to go to the big ones. Yeah.
Big cities.
No, the big stores.
Well, cool. I'm so glad I got a chance to have you on to share a little bit about your journey as a military spouse and as an entrepreneur, and talk about your podcast.
Cool.
Tell us a little bit about where we can find you, anything you have coming up, and pitch yourself. Plug.
You can pretty much find me on any social media except Instagram, except Snapchat. I don't do those two yet. I will probably get into them, but when I do, Big Dave E will be the way to find me.
Okay.
Or Dave Etter. Just searching for my name, you should find me. And the podcasts that I do, the oldest one, which is 3 years old going on 4, is Male Military Spouse Radio Show. It's on Blog Talk Radio. There's Spouse Spouts with Susan Reynolds, which airs live on Wednesdays at 9:30 Eastern in the mornings each week. And you're going to be a guest co-host a couple of weeks from now. So
I think it's April 24th. It's a Wednesday, right? Is it on Wednesdays?
Yeah, May 24th.
Goodness, I need to get my life.
Oh, let's see. Hey, April's cool. April was fun. Yeah, I dated her. Let's see.
Yeah, it's April 24th.
But like I said, that's on Blog Talk Radio as well. And you'll find we throw out things on Twitter and we throw things out on Facebook. And then Spouse World 1-to-1, available on all podcast media places you can find. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. You have one of those Google-enabled cars, look up Spouse World 1-to-1 on your Google car. Google Play will then populate all of this all of the episodes you haven't heard. It's so easy. It's
That's
so
cool.
cool. And some of them even have iTunes already programmed into them, these new cars. So that's why I was really excited about getting Spouse World going. Other than that, that's pretty much all I'm doing. It's all the umbrella under Big Dave E Productions. It's a production company so that I can carry the copyrights and the trademarks and make sure that everything is protected as far as it is. It's an LLC. And if you have not, folks, there's another tip, fourth tip. On entrepreneurs, LLC, limited liability company. Go get yourself an LLC. They convert to 503c1s if necessary. You can convert them into regular corporations, but an LLC takes all of about 5 minutes to do.
I know. I have my business is under an LLC, and then I have all the umbrellas underneath. So yeah, I do agree with you on that. Like if you're going to start something, LLC right away, so you can start writing everything off on your taxes and just be a business, which is great.
Yep. So and get a PayPal account.
Yeah, well, I was doing PayPal, but now I'm doing Intuit, and Dubsado has a new payment thing, so I think I'm going to start using their stuff. I love it.
I'll have to look into those.
Yeah, they're really good. So, well, Dave, thank you so much for joining us for another MilSpouse influencer interview. We're grateful that you had time to hang out with us today. And for the community, make sure if you want to reach out, you have any podcast questions, you have any great things to ask Dave, he will be available. Make sure to follow him on all his social media, check out his website, and make sure you check out Spouse World 1-to-1. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you at the next influencer interview.